and then I'll start the video when.
Sure, sounds good. Hi, everybody, welcome.
Hi. Oh, I can see everyone coming in. Great. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Linda. That's a good name. That's my name. Stacy. Hi.
Okay, we're just gonna wait a second here just to let everybody in.
Ali, the email said 1:30, so I logged on at 1:30 and sort of thought, oh my God, another meeting in progress, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I've been sitting here for half an hour reading my emails, thinking,
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, hopefully you got to read all your emails. I don't know about you, but they seem to be coming in much more these days.
Thick and fast, exactly.
Yeah, we were opening up the
Gwen,
waiting.
thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Hi, Gwen. Great to see you too. Well, I haven't seen you. I don't think, maybe you're not, I'm not sure. You know, when I was doing the demos with OCAD, everyone was dots. You know, I couldn't see anyone, right? So it was just, I was talking to dots. So,
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys showing up. And
Okay.
yeah, I put it on my Facebook page. So I don't know, maybe if I told everyone, come and say hi. Carolyn, hi Carolyn.
Yeah, I see some familiar faces as well.
Yeah, you see some familiar faces?
Oh yeah, we've got some dedicated demo watchers. I love it.
Oh, great. Yeah, I think I'm becoming one of those too.
Yeah.
Hi, Andrew.
No, that's
okay.
okay.
Oh, that's okay, Gwen. I understand. The video thing it's intense sometimes to put it on. But I'm just glad you came in.
Okay. We've got a good crowd today.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Okay, well, we can probably get started. It doesn't look like anybody else is filing in here.
Okay, they'll come in one, you know, I think.
Yeah, we can keep letting them in. Okay, well, welcome everybody to our Liquitex Find Your Flow demo. We're super excited for this class. We're looking forward to it. We got some great, we got a great turnout today. Again, I know I've seen a lot of you guys before, so I'm sure you know how this goes, but yeah, just throughout the demo when Linda is showing the products to us, if you have any questions, we just ask that you write them in the chat box for now. And then when Linda has some downtime, we'll ask them on your behalf. And then near the end, we're gonna open it up for a Q&A and you guys can ask Linda directly or just write it in the chat, whatever you're most comfortable with. I'm also just gonna ask you guys put your screen into speaker view. So you should be able to do that on the top right side. It should probably be in speaker view anyway if you see people's screens getting bigger when they talk. And then just because I'm going to be spotlighting Linda's screen, so then you'll be able to see it best that way. But yeah, so I'm going to pass it over to Linda and we can get started.
Okay, great. Thanks, Allie. Hi, everyone. So I just want to let you know, my name is Linda Montgomery, and I think I just disappeared. I'm actually working for the Fine Art Collective, which is a global network of professional artists and art educators, chemists and historians and technical experts and curators. It's a big thing. And they're all dedicated to sharing knowledge and skills. So just behind all these art materials are all these very, very global, you know, historians and technical people bringing the best product they can to the professional line of Liquitex. It's actually, the Fine Art Collective is based in 12 countries all over the world: Japan, Italy, Spain, England, Netherlands. And if you go on Instagram or even Facebook, you'll see that they each have their own site in that language. So it's pretty cool. And so that's what I'm doing today with the Fine Art Collective. I'm sharing material practice and expertise and techniques and tools, and basically it's called Find Your Flow. So it's about extending sort of what your preferences is to adjust the flow or adjust the pigments or mediums, mainly the mediums, the pigments with the mediums, just to take it into a whole other world of viscosities, which is basically the way things flow, or or the other thing, or give body to the paints. So what's the best options for you to do that? So I want to thank a lot of people today. I want to thank Liquitex, Fine Art Collective, and Above Ground, because I'm only part of that community that's allowing this demo to happen today. So my name is Linda Montgomery. I'm a working artist. I graduated from OCAD University. I taught there for 10 years. I taught drawing and painting and color theory. And I left there and started with Liquitex about 10 years ago. I was a freelance illustrator for many years, successful freelance illustrator. And now I'm working more on painting and materials and stuff. I'm in my Montgomery studio. So this is the back end of my studio with all my stuff. And I'm about 2 hours north of Toronto in the northwest, about 2 hours northwest of Toronto. And it's called Montgomery. So it's nice to be up here working and being able to show you guys some stuff. So I'm really encouraging questions today. And I'm really here for you. I'm here to service Above Ground, and I'm here to service you guys. Whatever you want to know about acrylics, really, you can ask me anything. So anyway, so I'll go to the overhead, unless you have any questions you want to ask me right now about me or what the Fine Art Collective is. I'm going to give you a few links. You can always screenshot this. Oh, I would encourage you to go to liquitex.com as well. They have amazing resources there. If you go under resources, they actually have a free acrylic book you can download. I'm not sure how many pages it is. If you give me a sec, maybe I can find out, but I'll show you. This is actually the book. Sorry, it's reversed, but it's about 120 pages, and it's a free PDF. It covers all the mediums. It's really got a lot of great information. Yeah, I am on Instagram. Right now my account is private, but I don't mind, you know, adding people in there. Like everyone, I'm trying to get organized with Instagram and all the social media stuff as well. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I also have a website, which I'm starting to add more things to and revise that too. So it's exciting. So I think we can go on the overhead and get started. Yeah, so liquitex.com. Thanks, Sally. Yeah, that's great. Definitely the resources. They've got all the brochures. The brochures are great. Hey, Allie and Rachel? They're so helpful, and they go through all of the paint characteristics, all of the techniques, the different size of bottles you can buy, and just a lot of great information. I actually make reference to it a lot myself still, even though I know a lot about the Liquitex brand. So I'm gonna flip over, I think, and then I'll give these links for you guys. Let me just put my video on here, and then we can shut me off here.
Able to spotlight you there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, great. So here, I want to actually give you some links here. This is a couple pieces of my artwork, just so you can see that I am a working artist. Let's see if I can get this down a little bit more. Yeah, so these are the links. So the Fine Art Collective, you can actually join. If you go on that link, you can sign up for their newsletter. They got great information on pigments and artist residencies and everything happening globally. That's my email. It's lindamontgomery.ca. And the Fine Art Collective, if you are on Instagram, the Fine Art Collective North America, they have over 100 little mini videos. And also at Liquitex Official, these are on Instagram. The site that Ali just posted is liquitex.com. And of course, Above Ground Art Supplies is putting more and more resources on there as well, and their Instagram handle as well, which is you guys are really starting to build that really well. I have to say that's a great initiative as well. We're all sort of starting out. So anyway, if you want me to come back to these, I can definitely come back to these. So what we're going to talk about today is the viscosities of the acrylic paint. I'm just going to get this so I can use this as a paint. So first of all, I'm just going to show you these in dry form, and then I'm going to actually paint them out for you. So the first one that actually came on the market in 1956, that's when actually acrylic polymer paint actually came onto the market in 55. That's when gessos came on. All water-based paints came in 1955. Soft body came in. It was the first paint. It still is the world's first water-based acrylic paint. And then following that was heavy body. And heavy body has a thicker or higher viscosity. And just if you're not familiar with that word viscosity, it has to do with thickness. So soft body, and as I paint it out, we'll talk more about it, has a little bit more of a low medium viscosity, and that has to do with the thickness. So when we're talking about find your flow today, we're talking about basically things that are very fluid or very thick. So in terms of viscosities, either they have a very, very low viscosity, which is fluid, or a high viscosity. So it's a little bit of a, but just think of viscosities as thickness. And then after heavy body came the inks, which I'm going to show you. And on top of these inks are markers. And markers are just fabulous. They just came out in 2013. And they're so great for plein air, going out. You can carry like half a dozen of them for sketching. You can add water to them, but they're not dye-based. They're actually a new way to paint. There's no brush. It's just professional grade paint in a fine art marker. So I'm going to be showing you all these. I just wanted to go over the dry stuff. And most recently, Liquitex came out with the new acrylic gouache. And you can see here just how beautiful this gouache is. It's very flat, it's very matte. And in terms of it coming out recently, this is the most intense pigment that Liquitex has ever come out with. And you can see here, I laid it down. It lays down with no brush strokes. It's really matte. And it has the viscosity between the ink and the soft body. So when I start laying it out, you'll see that this is the lowest viscosity, which is more fluid, then the acrylic gouache, then the soft body, the heavy body, and then the markers are basically, they're more for line work, but you can actually put them into water to make them flow like watercolors. So they work really great. The other one I would like to show today too, because everyone's, not everyone, but a lot of us are on budgets or whatever, are the Liquitex Basics. And they came out in '93. It's the Liquitex student grade. And it is actually, they are great to do studies with. They have a good pigment load, maybe not the highest pigment load, but they have a good pigment load. They have a good range of colors. They've actually bumped them up to 72 colors now. And they have the viscosity of the soft body. So further ado, we'll just get painting because that's more fun to watch me paint. So I laid it all out here just so that you can keep track of the years and everything. And I think what we'll do is we'll start with the soft body. Now, a lot of you might have the soft body already. The soft body has gone through a lot of transitions. So it was in this little, or maybe I can come up a little bit higher here. Yeah, it actually came in these sort of little tubs, and then you could also get it in tubes. but now it's actually evolved into these beautiful new containers. And the reason I say that is that the 59 mil is the same amount of paint that's in here and here is in here. But this one I'm going to actually show you because this is the new product. Just think of the white cap as soft for soft body. And if you haven't seen these new caps, they pop off. They've got a nozzle top, which you can cut if you want more flow out of them. We're going to use this one today. And if you want to work, they snap on, which is great. And you can take off the top and work directly from the tub. And you can see it's quite wide as opposed to the other tub that they had. So you can get a bigger brush in there. So it's just really nicely designed. And Allie and Rachel and I were talking about just, you know, the design of it all now. The nice thing is too, they can stack. You can't see this, but you can, you know, if you're into the stacking thing, you can stack them really well. I'm not sure how they are displayed in the stores. So this is the soft body. I've got a nice vivid lime green to celebrate spring, almost spring, right? You will find that the viscosity on this is a low to medium viscosity. And I'm going to get my brush out here. And the soft body really, it's very highly, this is all professional grade that I'm showing you right now. It has a really nice flow to it. And this is kind of the workhorse of the acrylic paints. So I'm wondering if I can get a bit closer here for you guys to see. Let me just see. Okay. Yeah, so it really retains subtle brush strokes, not thick brush strokes, but it's really highly versatile. And the great thing about it has great surface coverage. So you can cover, you saw how much I put out and I'm still painting, right? And what I find is that this is really great for people that don't want to see a lot of brush marks in the work. It's great for fine details because of the, you know, just that it's more, it can spread more in a nice way. So that's the soft body. When I go into the heavy body, I'm just going to move this here. When I go into the heavy body, you'll see that we'll use another nice spring color. So this packaging hasn't changed too much. You might have seen the heavy body this way. The packaging on the Liquitex Professional brand is really informative. It tells you the series numbers. It tells you whether it's transparent or opaque. So you can see this is transparent. It's a series 2. It gives you the color. This is the new packaging. It gives you a lot of information right on the front. The light fastness as well. So this is a really nice Indian yellow, which I'm going to use. And I'm going to show you just how nice and thick this comes out. You can see that. So the nice thing about the flow of the heavy body is that it actually retains, and I'll come in closer when I just do these ones so you can really see. So you can see here that it's got a really nice thickness to it. And I'm going to use a palette knife just to show you that this is the highest viscosity of the Liquitex brand, and it really holds the form. So it's really ideal for that flow thick. If you really love thick paint, it really holds the peaks and valleys. So it's great for impasto and texture, and it has a satin finish, but it really gives a rich color, and it really gives a nice crisp brush stroke or knife mark in it. So you can see here it really holds the form. If I actually went back to the soft body, it won't hold the form as much if I put it on an angle, it'll start to drip. So you can see here that if you really like thick paint or texture, you might want to go more for a heavy body. And what I'm going to do after I show you all the different viscosities is I'm going to show you, if you've got a lot of soft body paint, how you can, and you would prefer it to be heavy body, what mediums to use to be able to do that. So you don't have to go out and buy more paint. You can just sort of use the paint you have, but use the mediums to alter and adjust the flow that you really want. So that's where we're going today, just in case you're wondering where all this is going. So the next one that came out is the Basics, and that was in 1993. And just gonna get this funky flow here. I'm gonna get this. So Basics have really come a long way. They got 24 new colors, and I have to say, some of the colors are really super beautiful. So one of the new colors in the Basics line is this Iridescent Graphite. So those of you who don't maybe like a lot of bright color, but I'm gonna put this out. It's also got all of the information on here. You can see it, the square here is solid, which means it's fairly opaque. And it's a mica, so it might not have the permanency as much as like a traditional color. Let me see if I've got one here. Yeah, so here you can see here that this is another new basic color. I've got 3 of them to show you. This is a gray green, and here it's got the 3 pigments that are in there. So that's the how to read that pigment color. Have you ever wondered what those numbers were? I know I used to wonder what those were. So it's pigment yellow 4.2 and pigment blue 29 and pigment white 6 is in here to make this color, this gray green. But the permanency is 1 where this is rated, not rated, NR, in case you didn't know. And that means that usually the iridescent colors and the fluorescent colors, I've got a nice fluorescent color here too, to celebrate spring. Again, this is another new color. It's the fluorescent green. And you can see here it's transparent and it's not rated either. So be aware of your iridescent and your fluorescents, that they can fade if they get a lot of UV lighting. So let's just put them, I think we'll put them all out and just do a drawdown. I always kind of like doing this. You'll see they have a very similar consistency of to the soft body. And all the colors there. I like to put them all out and we'll use a palette knife on them. So when I draw this down, you'll just see, we'll go around that, just how nice those colors are. I think they almost look like the Brazilian flag or something. I'm not sure, but that's what I was just thinking about. But they have the same consistency or viscosity as the soft body. And all the colors, if you're wondering the difference between the Basics and the Professional, is that the Basics have a good pigment load, as opposed to the Professional grade has more of a higher pigment load. They have a good range of colors, where the Professional, like the heavy body, has 105 colors and soft body has 100 colors. So this is 72 colors. That's actually good to know if you're wanting a range of colors. So the one with Basics, there's only one consistency of paint, which is medium viscosity, where your choice of viscosities and formats is a little bit broader with the Professional range. As you can see, this is Professional brand range, heavy bodies Professional, ink is Professional, and the other 3 I'm going to show you is from the Professional range. So you're getting more range of the viscosities, where this is just the medium, closer to the soft body. Better pricing, it's more economical. You know, it's the same price across all the colors of the same size. So As you know, with the professional range, there's different series, 1A, 3A, 5, 4, and that's according to the pigment and the manufacturing complexity. If you want to be more technical, why am I paying, $15 for this cadmium, right? It's because it's complex to manufacture. The nice thing about Basics too is they've come out with 12 mediums, and in the professional range, there's over 48 mediums. So hopefully, I can get to at least 12 of them today for you guys. In that 48 mediums in the professional range are the varnishes and the gessos. So that's good to know just how much you can really adjust your flow. And so you can really start thinking about, oh my God, how do I really want to work with my artwork? So let's talk about the ink now. So the ink there's 35 colors with the ink. And I think actually they may be coming out with some more colors. That was in 2008. And the nice thing about the watercolors is that they have a fluid, a very low viscosity. It's the lowest viscosities. There's no dyes in them at all. And if you're a watercolorist, you're going to love the inks. The inks have so much flow to them. This is watercolor paper that I'm actually working on. And you can see here that they have very intense color. There's no dyes, there's no fades. They're permanent once they're dry. So you can overlap. I think I grabbed a little bit of soft Basics there. I'll just go over the ink here. But look how beautiful they flow. So, and you can definitely get carried away with the inks, you can tell. This is almost dry. So I can actually go over this soft body with the ink. And this color that I'm using right now is a Prussian Blue Hue. And if I look on the back, you can see it's transparent. Let's go back up. Yeah, it's transparent. So the nice thing is you can overlay mainly with the more inks on top of the markers as well. And once the base is dry here, we can even go over top of here, is that you can start to get these beautiful transparent glazes. So you can see how, and I'm just playing here now. I'm not really good at staying within the borders. You can see it's starting to get kind of funky here, but you can see you can start to get these really nice glazes as well with the inks. The inks are really wonderful to use, and we're going to explore more different watercolor techniques you can use with them. Like I said, they're non-fading because they have a good permanency. They dry to a satin finish. They're permanent when they're dry. And they're really ultra fluid, so they really flow. As opposed to heavy body, you're dealing more with adjusting your flow, and what you're getting out of a heavy body thick is you're getting body. That's why they call it heavy body, and you're increasing your open time with heavy body. So that's important to know. And we'll just show with the gel mediums how you can extend that volume of paint as well. They're all archival, which is another great thing to know. Now on to the markers. So the markers is, they came out in 2013, and the markers, there's about 50 different colors of markers. So I just happen to have these two markers. One is the Prussian Blue Hue, and you can see here it's opaque. It's got all the information now on it as well, the pigment name, and the light fastness is a 2. And here you can see the vivid lime green. You want to store them down, and you want to give them a good shake before you use them. You can hear them shaking in the brochure that you can download on the Liquitex site. There's a little ball in there. It's quite complex how they make these. The nice thing is that you can travel with these, or you can go out and do some plein air, and it's just really like, it's sort of like a like a carrying around a paintbrush or like a whole sort of format of taking out of the studio. So when you open it up, there's a felt tip on it. And to activate it, and I made a point of getting these ones that hadn't been activated yet to show you that once you shake them really, really well, because you're shaking up, what you're shaking up is the professional grade pigment in there and the artist's quality, you know, high quality pigment, and also the water and the polymer emulsion. So these, someone was asking about markers, I think. The markers have sort of a low, they have a low viscosity, and you can see here, you have to pump it a couple of times. Sorry, this might be like watching paint dry while I do this, but you can see that eventually what happens is the pigment will start to come through on the felt tip. So just that, I could show you one that hasn't been activated yet, but then you wouldn't know how to use it. And I'm showing this because you can watch this again. So it is coming out. You can see it's slowly coming out. Bear with me here. The nice thing about the markers is that they have incredible nib versatility. So you would think, oh my God, this big King Kong marker, right? This is huge. Yeah, it is really huge. But look at, I'm going to just show you, we've got it activated already. See, I've got it totally activated. The nice thing is you can actually use, which liquid product is used. You can see here that you can use every angle of that tip in that marker. So right now you can do very fine detail. We can go over to our soft body and we can do very fine little dots. We can use the edge of it to get beautiful line work, and you can do pressured. I'm trying to see where I got going here. Yeah, the other thing you can do is you can block in. You can do lots of different line. If you really love line work, you can do a lot with the markers. You can also, with the larger marker, you can use all sides of that marker. I'm really making a mess here, but that's what I like to do, is make a mess and play. So you don't want to be using it on the heavy body because this will, unless it's dry. The great thing about the acrylic markers is that once anything is dry on the gels, you can use it. It's permanent, and it, because it's got the polymer emulsion base in here, it will stick to it. So the some of the colors are just gorgeous. Here's a really beautiful cobalt turquoise hue. This one feels like you're on the beach, you know, and you can just start to do cross hatching, you know, implied lines. Really great for sketching, you know, going out there, you get the colors you like and just going out there and start, you know, sketching and overlay. This is almost dry. Just watch, if you are using inks or even the soft body, you can go in here and you can just start to play around with these layers. You can tell I like the markers, but they're really great for going outside. You grab a dozen and you just get the colors and you can just sketch with them. And they're permanent. They're not like a Sharpie. They're not alcohol based. They're permanent, and they're archival as well. So just give them a good shake. So the last one I want to show you is the acrylic gouache, and that just came out. It has a low viscosity, like I mentioned. It's a viscosity between the soft body and the ink, and it has a black top. So this one is the Prussian Blue Hue. I thought I would stick with Prussian Blue Hue and the Vivid Lime Green. So the great thing about Liquitex brand as well is if you want to do intermixability, which means you want to paint with soft body and gouache, and you want to use a marker, is that all this pigment is the same color. So it matches exactly. So they really really sort of matched quite a few colors that all have the same pigment. I think I even have an ink in the Vivid Lime Green as well. So I was trying to just show all of this is all intermixable, and even the soft body, this is an older package, is the Vivid Lime Green. So that's a soft body in the older package. So if that's a concern when you're doing your artwork, that you want to match color over the different viscosities, that's a good thing to know, that you can actually do that with certain colors. You'll just have to check the brochures to see which ones are they go across the whole range of the Liquitex range. I think there's quite a few of them. I haven't counted. So I'm going to put out the acrylic gouache. The nice thing is these are all intermixable. So the acrylic gouache has a really beautiful flow to it. It's just so smooth. Has anyone used the new acrylic gouache? It's really, really nice. If you are an artist that doesn't really, acrylic artist, or you would like to alter the sheen of the acrylic, why did they come out with acrylic gouache? Because they noticed some of artists would prefer to have a very flat and matte effect. So when I brush this out, you'll just see, we're going to just paint over. You can see, I'm going to paint over this just to show you how matte it is. We're going to get rid of some of those lines. So you can see here that this is opaque. It's a series 2. It's a permanent. And this is the pigments that's in it. So there's a pigment yellow, pigment G, and pigment white. You'll find most of it, of the gouache, has some white in it because, as you know, with traditional gouache, it is basically opaque watercolor. Let me just move that into frame a little bit here. So look at how beautiful this lays down. Sorry, markers, we're going over you here. So it is so smooth. I wish you could experience this. It's so ultra pigmented, and it's so opaque, and it really is very smooth and fluid. No brush strokes. It just lays down so nice. You don't need to dilute it. You can see all of this product. I didn't use any water at all, 0. It's just, you just don't need the water. You don't need to dilute it, and it's non-cracking. And it's all the products here are permanent when they're dry because they all have the polymer emulsion base in it. So there you go. There's the different pigment range. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the mediums. Any questions at this point? Because I've been really yapping around here with all these pigments.
There were a couple of questions here for you. Elaine asked, do the markers use acrylic ink? If not, what stops them from clogging?
Oh, they shouldn't clog. They don't clog, actually. I've never had them clog. If anything, with the markers, with the bigger markers, you want to maybe clean the edge around them. I've never had them clogged because they're, let me get one here. This is an older one. You can really hear the balls in there, right? But if you have any if you're saying like this isn't pumping, but this is an old one, you can tell there's not much pigment in there, but I guarantee you that if I just pump it a little bit, it's got a great pumping system in it, and look, it's still producing some nice lines, right? So I'm not sure, maybe other ones have clogged, other brands, but I haven't had an issue with the clogging. If you have an issue where you get a lot of, maybe you've used it on a heavy body, you can take these out. I can actually show you. Let me just get my handy Dan. You can take these out, the nibs right out, and you can turn them around. I turn them around, or you can replace them. you can buy replacements. I think above ground you have them, right? If you don't use them, I haven't used this one since school time. You can see I didn't clean the edge around here, but if you don't use them for a while, just make sure you're holding, like I haven't used these probably for a couple months. It could even be this one, even maybe a year, and it's still working. You just have to give it a shake. This should not dry out unless it's left open. Like you go and, you know, you get on the phone for an hour or you're cooking or something and you leave this out and this dries out, no problem. If you still have a lot of ink in there, or a lot of, not ink, sorry, a lot of, you know, acrylic paint in here, then you can just, if this dries out, you just replace the nib. That's how you do it. Does that help? I sort of saw that she was saying if you haven't used them in a while or something, right?
Yeah, they asked, or Gwen asked, if you don't use them for several months, can they be reactivated?
They should just, they should just start right away. I mean, these ones, I have some little ones here too. I made sure before I came to do the demo that they were okay. And you know what? I just, look at it there. This should be almost dry, not quite. This is dry, but you can see here, I haven't used these for a while. And if you keep that cap on, they shouldn't dry out. And if they do dry out, you just go get yourself a little pack of nibs. Do you guys carry the nibs, Allie and Rachel? Yeah.
I think we do. We can take a look and we can link them if we do.
Yeah, they're in the link I just sent, actually.
Okay.
They're in there.
Yeah, so don't worry if they, just make sure you give them a good shake, because I find the water, the polymer emulsion and the pigment, it just needs to, you just need to give it a good shake. But I've never had any problems. Just keep that cap on really tight.
There's one more question here from Gwen again about the markers. She asked, what is the average life of the markers?
That's a good question. It depends how you're using it. You know, they last quite a while, but this is how much pigment's in the big one. So the large one is a wide, it's called it. It's 15 mm. And then of course you're going to get more out of the big one than you will out of the smaller one, which is a fine. But I'm not sure the square footage on it. It's just how much you use it. But if you're using the large one, this is the one that I've used quite a bit. I showed you a new one. But you can see here, I could probably still get quite a bit of pigment out of there. If I'm blocking in, they're great for blocking in. This one here, plus you get the fine lines and you get all the dots too. I think this is almost dry. So good question. You just have to use them as much as you can. And if you finish, that's almost at its end. You're welcome, Gwen. What I find you can do too, which is you can take this nib out and soak it in a fluid acrylic medium, and soak it, and it will just, the felt tip, once it's finished, will just give you a nice glaze, kind of a glaze. I'm wondering if I had something here. Let me just see if I've got some. I wanted to show you that because sometimes people do ask about what to do with the tip, so that wasn't ready. Okay, so here I'm going to show you. This I put in a, oh yeah. Okay, good. So here you see this in this container. I had an orange marker and it finished. And what I did was I put the nib. Well, the nib is felt. And if you ever have saturated felt with pigment or paint, it's just so, just really sucks it up. So in here, you can't see the nib, but if let me see if I can get a palette knife here that I haven't used, that you can see that the nib is in there. So by soaking it, I've soaked it in a gloss medium or any fluid medium, glazing medium. And I can take this now And I would mark it. You should mark what color it is and what you did and when and all that. I didn't, but it was last year. And now I've got this beautiful color, and I can do a glaze. So let's just do it right over top here. It's very subtle, but I can start building up. Let me see if I can get this closer for you. Yeah, so there you go. There it is. And here's the actual nib in there. And what I can do is, it's a very light glaze. But once that dries, I can start building up more and more with it. So if you're just recycling or reusing, if you're into that, definitely that's what you can do with those nibs. So just because that question came up, right? Okay, so we're going to go on to the mediums. Any more questions there before I?
There were a couple more. Andrew asked, which Liquitex product would you use as an adhesive for a collage?
You can use all of them. So if you go on liquitex.com under Collage, they have a list of different mediums for different types of things that you're going to collage. So if you're actually doing if you're doing a lot of heavy rocks and wood and heavy things, I'm going to show you something here. Then you want to use a heavier gel. Now, this is a rock that's been glued on with modeling paste, and it's not coming off. So anything that's a heavy tile or anything, if you're just doing a very light newspaper or light cardboard or watercolor paper, you can use any of the matte medium or gloss medium. You can use the gel as well. All of the mediums you can use as adhesives, because the polymer emulsion by nature has a very adhesive quality. So you can use it to glue anything. And I think there's a nice list on the Liquitex site showing which medium to use for what type of material you're collaging. So depends on the type of material you're collaging. But I always like to show the rock because, it's not coming off, right? It's a great visual to show people. But if you're doing very light, like Japanese papers, you want to use things like more the fluid mediums. Good question. Thank you.
There's 3 more here, but I think we can get through them pretty quick.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Susie asked, we're going back to the markers now. Can the markers be refilled, and are they filled with acrylic ink or something else?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're formulated. The markers aren't refillable, but artists can do whatever they want to do. So I think they're made just for a one-time thing. I know they're not refillable, so that's the answer to the question. But there's not ink in here. It's just it's pigment. It has the viscosity of ink, but it's probably formulated similar to the viscosity of the acrylic ink, because you can see how it's flowing here. Even the nice thing, I think I'm going to get another piece of paper here, because I think we went over all the pigments, and now I want to just show you how you can do some effects with it. Let me get a clean sheet here. Otherwise, I just will keep working on that same sheet. Okay, so I've got a clean sheet here, and we'll just answer the questions by showing you something. So with the markers, what's nice is you can do, let's get some clean water here. Just gonna try and clean out some water here. Is with the markers, you can do wet and wet technique. So I could lay down, should get closer here. You saw that marker, right? Besides doing the line work with the marker, if you are out there and you like the flow of watercolors, you can see here, you can do wet and wet. And if you just pump it a little bit, here, this is one marker. What you can do is just get some water. I have to go get some clean water. So you can get in there and you can do some beautiful, go in with the marker. So you can get some beautiful effects. So the markers offer a lot of, they offer a lot of possibilities, especially for plein air. I would, highly recommend, and that's without any mediums. We haven't even gotten into the mediums yet. Does that help?
I think so.
Okay, a few more questions and then we'll go on to the mediums.
Yes, Stacy asked, what did you mix the felt tip with to make a glaze? And then she also just asked if you could go over the symbols on the bottles again.
Sure, absolutely. So what I mixed in here, sorry, I didn't mark it, but what I mixed in here was any fluid medium. So I probably added a gloss medium and varnish. So this is one of the fluid mediums, F for fluid. If you've noticed the Liquitex, it's got great graphics. So F is for fluid mediums. S is for surface prep, which is your gessos. G is for gels. Let's go into the labeling here. G is for gels, gel mediums. And what I do is, because I've got a lot of them, I actually, on my tops of my, in my studio, I write on the top G for light modeling paste, so I know it's a gel. Even for my fluid mediums, I do the same thing. So you'll see here, I have F for fluid, matte medium. And you could put in with the nib, you could actually put in, you could put in any of the fluid mediums. So you could put in matte medium, glazing medium, gloss medium. You could probably even put an airbrush medium, even though this is an effects, anything that's fluid. So now we're going to jump into the mediums because I realized we've got about a half an hour here. So I can give you some tips on that. So going back to the labels, the pigment labels, yeah, the pigment labels are great. Let's just take the soft body here. We've got a soft body yellow medium azu. So what you're going to see on the labels is you're going to see the color. You're going to see the pigment name, which is just the order in which they're registered. So this is pigment yellow 74, the series number 2. And if you see all completely white, it's transparent. If it's got sort of a dash like this one, it's translucent or semi-opaque. And if it's filled in all black, let's see if I can find one here. Yeah, here we go. This is, so remember the white is soft body. Remember soft is white. This is how I remembered. And then the acrylic gouache is black. And that is all black, so that's opaque. And then the little star there is the light fastness. So the number 1 is very, very high light fastness. And if you go on the Liquitex site, they are so amazing in terms of the way they test for light fastness. So this is super archival and the light fastness is over 100 years. If you see NR, like you will see in, let's see here, mainly in the iridescence, all iridescence, even soft body, and the fluorescence, you will see NR. Let's go up close here. Oh, kind of hard to see, but the NR means not rated, which means that it has, it hasn't got a what's the word? It's not light fastness, but it's susceptible to UV light. Good question. Now, the labels are really, especially if you're struggling with acrylics and you want to see more opacity, then you want to look and see if you're using an opaque paint. A lot of times with students, they'll be using, let's say, a yellow or reds, and they go, I can't get it opaque. It's not covering very well. And that's usually because it's transparent. So here, if you want to see something really opaque, a yellow that's opaque, you don't want to use a transparent yellow because that will give you something that you'll be able to see through. So that's, here's a little demo board I did, like a little mini Barnett Newman, is that this is transparent and this is opaque. Okay, great. So that's, if there's any problems with that in terms of, acrylic questions, I don't mind to answer those. Is there any more, Ellie? I'm gonna move on if there's no more questions.
I think we're good. We can start going into the mediums.
Okay, awesome. So a lot of times if you're using, let's say soft body, let's go back to soft body. If you're using soft body and you want it to be more like a watercolor, you want more of a wash. We know the inks have that really great, ultra fluid acrylics. So these make great watercolor washes. So we'll start from the lowest viscosity in terms of what kind of flow, or how do you want to adjust your flow. Let's say you've got a lot of soft body. Let me get my palette out here. Just going to show you some mixing here. So what I recommend for creating watercolor washes is to use, so there's the soft body. And we can go two ways with the soft body. We can add more body to it by adding a gel, or we can add more fluid to extend the pigment, to extend the color, or we can add more flow to it to get it more like a watercolor. So one product I really love, two products actually. One is called Flow Aid, which is an effects medium. And the other one is Airbrush Medium. And even though it says Airbrush Medium, this has got so much flow to it, or so much low viscosity fluid, more than gloss medium. You can see it running there. So I'm going to put out some fluid medium, which you can see doesn't have exactly the same watercolor effect. It's still fluid, but you can see this guy is running around. So what I would do is I would mix. You need a palette knife just to really mix that so you get it like a water-like consistency. So this way you're adjusting and you're altering the pigment. So that's what mediums do. The mediums can adjust the pigment and they extend the color. Look at how much color I got extended from that soft body. And it's almost like an ink consistency, right? Oh, what I'm using to mix it, I'm using the Airbrush Medium to the soft body. So this is to extend it into more creating watercolor-like washes. And then we'll go more into how to get it into more of a body, like a thicker body in terms of adjusting it. And the fluid mediums, what they do is they increase the flow. So if this was heavy body, let's see if we get some heavy body here. Okay, I'm going to use this heavy body. What is the maximum? The great thing about the mediums, there's no minimum or maximum. It's just to what ratio you want to do it. I think that was the question. I'm not sure. But there's no ratios, which is great because who wants to deal with ratios when you want to play, right? You just want it thicker. So if you have a lot of heavy body, that's the one that's very thick, and you just aren't using that heavy body, and you want to make that heavy body more like watercolor or even thicker or thinner, then you just add some fluid mediums. And fluid mediums, yeah, I am using a paper palette. This is a smaller one, but you can get them larger. The matte medium you can use, or you can use the gloss medium. So if I'm adding it to the heavy body, and we'll paint these out, is I'm going to actually increase and make this a lower viscosity, which is not going to have the same. Sorry, I got some other color mixed in there. So you can see here, it's really becoming like a soft body. And if I really wanted even more like a gouache, I could even mix some of the airbrush medium in there too. So everything's intermixable. It's just like you do use one. You do, it's like cooking, right? You get it to the right consistency that you want. So this is what this is about, adjusting your flow, finding your flow. What do you like? What don't you like? You know, I was talking with my director yesterday and he says, finding what paintings you like. Do you like more of a watercolor painting or more of a thick gel? And you can adjust your pigments with the mediums. And it's just about knowing about those mediums. So this is the difference between this now has become more like a soft body from the original. Actually, I'm going to paint it out. It'll be easier to see. So here's the original heavy body, which we know is a very high viscosity. It retains those brush marks. And now what I've done is I've mixed it. So it's become more of a soft body, almost like a gouache, not with the matteness, but in terms of the viscosity. So I've extended the pigment load, but I've kept the bright color. And what Liquitex really says about their professional grade brand is that you don't lose that rich, intense pigment load. It might go a little more transparent. The sheen might go more transparent or translucent. And you can adjust the sheen as well. So I could take the same heavy body and put it in with a matte medium, and the sheen would be not as glossy. So you can alter the sheen as well as the viscosity, like whether you want it more fluid or more thick. It depends on what pigment you're starting with. So is there anyone that has a lot of one pigment and you'd like to adjust it to a different viscosity than it actually is? That would be kind of interesting to know if anybody's would like to change the flow of, adjust the flow of some of their pigments. Then I could work to that. So you'll see here now, you might not remember what we did with the soft body, but we added a lot of the airbrush medium. I'll actually write this down so you can see. And now it's got a very water-like, it's more like creating a wash. So it's no longer a soft body consistency or viscosity. And here was what we started with. I believe it was, I think it was this one here, this soft body. So adjusting your flow is super important. So there's how it started with the soft body. So there's the soft body. And there it's more in a wash form. Now, if you look at this paint and we look at the label, you're going to get a lot more opacity. And once you start to use, we were using a airbrush medium, which if you look on the legend on the back, it says it's more transparent. So you're going to bring transparency to an opaque color. So you have to play around with those ratios. Not only the sheen you're altering, you're also altering the viscosity, but you're also altering the opacity and the transparency, right? Okay, so I've got a lot of this here, and the paper palette. Yeah, I'm working on a paper palette. And I'm just going to brush this out so it doesn't end up everywhere. Now, the nice thing is this has become transparent because we use the Airbrush Medium, and look at how nice, because now it's transparent. I can do a nice transparent glaze on top of that. Marker, this was the marker. I better write this down because you guys are probably going, I'm lost. What's she doing now? What's that lady doing now? Oh my God, what's she doing? Okay, so this was the marker. And then we turned it into a wash. Okay. And then what we did was we took the heavy body and we added gloss medium. I call it GMV, gloss medium and varnish. And we turned it into a more of a soft body, or, you know, sort of a consistency of the acrylic gouache. And then here we did soft body. I'll do it over here. So you can see it, there's a lot of fun you can have. I'm trying not to make this too intimidating. So here's the soft body. And then we used, I think we used the gloss medium and varnish, and we used the airbrush medium. I love that airbrush medium if you really want to create washes. There's also another one that's pretty cool, which is Flow-Aid. Maybe I can dance around here a little bit. Is there any more questions while I'm keep chatting here?
Yeah, Gwen asked, what would you recommend using pouring medium for?
Oh, pouring medium? Pouring medium, oh my God, pouring medium is so much fun. Pouring medium, I would use it to create a very high gloss, self-leveling kind of visual. Liquitex has come out. If we have time, I know we're running, things are going fast here. But if I have time, I will show the pouring medium. They have come out with 2 new pouring mediums, which I will just show you quickly, Gwen, because I know you'd like to know what's going on. Is the pouring medium. This is the regular pouring medium. It's an effects medium. It is, if you look on the label on the back, it's fluid, it's transparent, and it's glossy, but it's very self-leveling. So you have to work on a flat surface. Maybe Above Ground can have me come back for an hour or 2, and we can do just the pouring mediums because they're so popular, and they've come out with these 2 new beautiful pouring mediums called Iridescent Pouring Medium and Matte Pouring Medium. And you can see here it increases flow. It says right on here, reduces crazing, which means it doesn't get all those little crevices and cracks. And this one's matte finish, and this one is an iridescent, which is a beautiful, I just have a little skin here to show you. But I definitely could just do an hour and a half. Just look how beautiful that pouring medium is. I created an acrylic skin. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that iridescent pouring medium is just so beautiful. And so it would be nice. This is without any color on it at all. So yeah, thanks for that question. It's I might not be able to do it today, but we might be able to talk about it when maybe some new inks come in or something with the pouring medium. There's always a lot to do. Is there any more questions, or I'll just keep going here?
Yeah, Joe just asked, what is the purpose of varnish and how do you use it?
Okay, that's another big topic. If you go on the Fine Art Collective North America, Jimmy Leslie, if you just type in Jimmy Leslie varnishes, he did an hour demo just on varnishes. So that's on the Fine Art Collective. I'd highly recommend you watch it. It's an excellent video on varnishes. It's to actually seal the painting after it's completed and completely dry, and it protects it from dust and a lot of environmental factors. But I can't, talk about varnishes in terms of more about it. But definitely go to the Fine Art Collective or just type in Liquitex varnishes, and see if you can watch that. Yeah, it's a great video on, he does a lot of great videos on, actually, Gwen, you might want to watch his on the new pouring mediums as well. So now what I've got here is I've got Flow Aid. This is one that's always really popular to get effects that are for staining, or if I just put it down, how you use the Flow Aid is you do 20 parts water to 1 part Flow Aid. And what I've done here is I've created a mixture. This is for you, for those of you who really love the watercolors. This gives some beautiful washes, and you can just lay it down and put the ink right into it. For those of you who really love the inks, I think we'll show you the, this is a phthalo green blue shade, and you can't see anything, but once you drop into it, you can see here that it just totally goes into these beautiful water-like washes, and you can have a lot of fun with the Flow Aid. It's something where it creates a lot of really special effects with the watercolor. So what I'd like to do now, because I know we've got about another 15 minutes, is just go into the gels and show you how you can now get body rather than flow, increase the flow. Unless there's any more questions there, then you could just wash these out.
Candace was just wondering if the Jimmy Leslie video covers isolation layer as well.
What kind of layer is that?
Isolation layer.
Can she explain that? I'm not sure I understand that.
Candace, you
Isolation.
wanna unmute and ask for yourself.
Oh, hi, Candace. What is isolation layer? Oh, do you mean with the varnishes, or?
Probably, yeah, with the varnishes, with the Jimmy Leslie video, just if you.
Yeah, it's an excellent video on varnishes. He covers it very technically, and you can reach out to him if you really want to. Yes, with the varnish, yeah. You can definitely ask him any questions about the varnishes. He did a great video on varnishes. It would take a whole hour for me to do a whole thing on varnishes as well. A lot of these products, sometimes like the pouring mediums, they need almost a whole hour too. So today I'm just trying to show you a little bit how to adjust your flow or adapt your flow, or how to create, you know, thin, thick, you know, type of, you know, whatever mark making through the mediums if you've got a lot of the pigments that are maybe too thick or too thin. You want to beat them up or whatever. So by actually creating, this is something I did a few years ago, is to show one color, and how one color you can get many techniques. So this is actually the 7 textured gels. Well, actually the 6 textured gels plus string gel, which is similar to the pouring medium. So in this is one color is a dioxine purple, and by adding different mediums, you can actually get many different techniques. So this is with the adding texture. So that's the last thing I'd like to show you guys, is for those of you who want more body, want more texture, you want to build texture in your artwork rather than work more smoother and more fluid, is the other side of it, is how to build more texture, and you do that with the gels and the textured gels. So just something I did with the students at OCAD, which I thought was valuable to show you guys, is to look at, this is on cardboard, but it has a little bit of substrate induced discoloration, which means the impurities will go up into the mediums. So you always want a gesso which will help with the archival. And you can see here that these might look a little yellow, and that's only because the impurities, once this starts to dry, will start to come into the mediums. If you have color in here, you may never see it. But if you do see that, it's not that the mediums are bad, it's just that it's from the substrate, and that's why they call it substrate induced discoloration. But you can see here, this is gloss gel. This is gloss gel, really, really thick. I recommend that you build it in layers. There's still some moisture caught in there. You can see a little bit of white. There's the ultra matte gel. And then there's super heavy gloss gels. So if you've got heavy body, you can actually even make it more, you can create it even to a higher viscosity, even thicker, with the super heavy gels and the super heavy matte gels. And then there's the range of modeling paste, light modeling paste, and flexible. If you look at this, this is more of a flexible, this is a little bit more of a flexible surface. And you can see here in the modeling paste that there's just a few little slight cracks in there, but you want to, if you're using something really flexible, surface, you want to use the flexible modeling paste. A lot of people ask me the difference between modeling paste and the matte gels, or, and so you can see here how they actually dry differently. So I want to add some into, let's say we're going to use, black lava and some gloss gel and matte gel. Let's just put these three out for the grand finale here. So here I've got matte gel, and the label on that is G for gel. And now what I want to do is I want to increase the body and the open time. So this is, you can't see that very well, but this is the matte gel, and I'll label it for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to put, sort of got a yogurt-like consistency to it. It's very thick. Now you can get matte gel. You can get it actually thicker than that. And then the gloss gel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add, this is matte gel, and I'm going to add ink. This is fluid, and this is thick viscosity. Then I'm going to do a gloss gel. So I'm changing the sheen, not the viscosity. I'm going to add some soft body. Then I'm going to do a textured gel, which is the black lava, one of the 7, and I'm going to add some heavy body. So you can see here, or I could add acrylic gouache. Let's do that. Because the black lava is pretty thick. So let's add some acrylic gouache, because we know that viscosity of acrylic gouache is between the soft body and the ink. So here I've got some gloss gel. And I'm going to add some, I'm just using a spoon because it's easier. You could use a palette knife. And you'll see here, this black lava is one of my favorite textured gel, is that it's very milky when it's wet. I don't know if you can see that, but when it dries really nice and black. These are all thick. This is a special effects. But you'll see here how I can alter the pigment. These ones that are more fluid viscosities or lower viscosities, and they will start to have a higher viscosity to them. Okay, so we've got 10 minutes here, and we're going to do I'm going to use a palette knife because this will be easier to show you. So this is a matte gel, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ink. So I'm going to add something very fluid into something very thick. Now I'm going to increase the open time, And I'm also, you can see here by mixing it, that I'm actually creating a gel, and it's going to hold the brush or the knife marks where it wasn't able to do that. Sorry. Let me just move some stuff here. Let's go down a little bit tighter so you can see this. So by mixing this up, I'm getting it from a very low viscosity to a very high viscosity. And now it's going to hold those peaks and form. So if you've got a lot of acrylic paint that's very fluid and you want it thick, you can add gel to get it into more of a heavy body consistency. And you can see here how thick that is and how it will hold into a form. I'm not sure, maybe if I get that on an angle. And if you want it thicker than that, you can use a super heavy matte gel, which is even thicker than the matte gel. So that's one way. If you are someone who really likes thick paint, you're not going to get it from your soft body, and you'll get it from your heavy body, but you'll really get it from those thick gels. And if it's not the color, you just have to mix it to get the ratio you want. So with the soft body, it's the same in the gloss gel. Let's just add a nice soft body in there. Any questions while I'm still talking here? So we've got a soft body here. Let's see what I did with my soft body. Here we've got the Vivid Lime Green. I'm putting it in there. And what I might even do is use a gloss super heavy gel just to even get it thicker. So this is the gloss super heavy gel, and you can get a matte super heavy gel, so you can make a decision on the sheen that you want as well. Just make sure I got a clean palette knife here. So you can see that things can get, and I can mix that gloss gel and that super gloss super heavy gel together. And you can see here how much thicker this is creating. This is for those of you who want to adjust your flow and you want to build texture in your artwork. You want to build thick impasto, you know, rich sort of, you want to see those brush strokes and you want to see those knife marks. So you just have to really work that in. And if it's too light, then you can just keep adding more of that soft body. Any questions? Because I know we're getting close to the end here. Oh my God. It's like the stretch.
Almost there. No, there's no questions right now. You can keep going.
Okay. I think a lot of people like the watercolor effect. So tell me about what kind of flow you guys like. What do you prefer, thick or fluid, or what was your favorite pigment so far, or mediums? Or do you have anything that you're not using that you'd like to know how to use, or
You guys want to share opinions in the chat there? If you want to unmute, maybe raise your hand and you can say something.
Oh, yeah, the string gel.
Yeah. Yeah, Eileen, actually, I think I did see that before. Sorry about that. But she asked how to use the string gel.
Yeah, I think what we're going to have to do is either you can go and watch some Jimmy do the string gel, or maybe, you know, if I can come back to above ground, we'll see. I don't know, but we can do a whole thing just on the string gel and the pouring mediums. What do you think, Allie? You think?
Yeah, I think everybody's got a lot of questions. I think that'd be really great. So
The pouring medium is just so hard to cover when I'm, you know, with all the flow, and you can see here, look how beautiful that holds that, you know, that soft body has just become a super heavy duty, heavy body. And you can just keep adding the color. Always remember that your pigments are very expensive, or can be, and the mediums are cheaper. So adjusting the flow with the mediums is super key. Definitely download the medium brochure in the Liquitex. It's free. It's a great resource. It'll give you all the things I've talked about today. And the last one we'll do is the black lava for the, just to show you one of the textured gels, and just how beautiful. We'll add some of the acrylic gouache. I think what I'd like to do is maybe add the ink, because the ink is very fluid, and to put it into a textured gel, it's so great. I just poured it in there, but look at how putting something fluid into that textured gel, it's like almost like a tapioca, right?
Would you be able to slide the sheet over a little bit?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And if you don't like that color, we can add a little bit of the Prussian blue. It's maybe we make it like a little greener. So you can see everything's intermixable. And you got to really mix it, but you know, look at that black lava. And when I actually do the, I keep mixing it. It's a beautiful, beautiful green, forest green. Look at that undertone there. But in the mass tone, you can see how it's altered that ink totally into a gel. And if I just left it, it's holding the palette, the knife marks. You can have a lot of fun with some of the tools as well. There's some great tools out there. There's these tools, you know, these spatulas or trowels. You know, they can create some great mark making too, like these graffito kind of ideas. The nice thing about the gels is they hold the form, so you can go in there and really do some nice, you know, mark making, stenciling. Yeah, there's just so much you can do with them. So this graffito, you can see we had this color. We had the yellow, orange, azu. And we had that underneath, but it shows through. So, you know, you can just do some lovely graffito mark into it. And you'll see this, you know, look at artwork. It holds its form, but if you get some stencils, you could have some fun with that as well. I'm wondering if I had the one where I did or you can just, you know, it's so great. It holds its form really, really well. I'll show you one we did with OCAD, and then I guess we better start wrapping up. I could talk forever. So I hope this has been really helpful for you guys. You know, there's so much to learn about the mediums. This is one I did with the students. We did it with the gloss gel, and we did the ink underneath, and we just put, you know, we just dragged a knife or something through it, a comb, and even, you know, you can do different mark making. This was a transparent gel. So there's so many great things you can do with the gels. They hold the form. They, you know, the different ones they have, this is the Resin Sand. I'll come up a bit closer. You know, you can carve into them. They hold, you can do the washes first, and then have the contrast of the textured gels on top. And this is the black lava when it actually dries. This is without any color. And, you know, these are just little samples that you can do little tests, and then, you know, turn these into bigger paintings. So you do little studies with the mediums. I think there's actually some great medium kits. Am I right, Ali and Rachel? Like the Liquitex has some great intro kits.
Yeah, I believe we have some bundle ones. So you can, find those on the website.
So I hope this has really helped you think about how to adjust flow, even if you've got some acrylic paints that you're happy with or not happy with, and how you could maybe use some of the fluid mediums or gel mediums or special effects mediums to, you know, to alter the flow, adjust the flow that, you know, something that's really something you want to, you know, you want to see in your work, you want to build in your work something different, maybe, or in contrast to what you're doing already. So I'll let you, you can reach out to Liquitex again. Here's those sites. So that's the Fine Art Collective. You can sign up for their newsletters. You can check out my work. That's my illustration work right now. I'm working on my painting work. The Fine Art Collective, they've got tons of little videos there on the Instagram, and Liquitex Official. And if you're not on Instagram, social media, you can go to the website and above ground. I know you're posting some stuff now too, right? Some videos?
Yeah, we do.
And you've got YouTube channel, and that's above ground's Instagram handles. So I'll go back to say bye to everyone. I wish I could talk for another hour, but there's so much to learn. Thanks for hanging in there, everyone.
Yeah, of course.
Any more questions?
Do you have a minute for a couple more?
Before I can take a few more before I go.
Okay, so Diane asked me, does she need a retarder if she uses any of the mediums?
No, if the mediums are fluid, they will dry quicker than, here, I'll go back on the chat here. Gonna add spotlight, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So with the mediums, if you want, retarder is an additive. I would suggest you get a slow dry blending medium or a slow dry blending gel, and that will give you more open time. But most of the gels will give you more open time. The fluid mediums won't give you as much open time because they're more fluid and thinner and they dry faster. But you can see here, these gels, these are going to take probably a good 2 to 3, maybe even depending on the moisture right now, they could take up to a week to dry because they're so, see, they're so thick. So you'll get more open time with the gels. And with the retarder, I would say try using the slow dry blending medium for thinner, more wash-like, or the gel for thicker. It'll give you more open time. And the great thing about that is you don't have to fuss with ratios. With the retarder, you have to, it's an additive, so you have to be very, you have to measure, like you can only use 25% of it because it doesn't have the, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have the binder in it that the slow dry blending medium and gel has. So that's a good question, because retarders, I used to use them too when I was younger at art school, but I love that slow dry blending medium because you just add that with your pigment and it gives you more open time.
Allison asked, what was the palette knife that you used with the zigzag edges?
Oh yeah, isn't that great? That is a Liquitex. Do you guys carry the range of these tools?
I don't know if we have the Liquitex one. I don't think we do at the moment.
Yeah, so these are, this is actually, Liquitex has a whole range, and maybe there's, you can look at, this one is a trowel. There's a range of, I'm not sure how many tools they have. I was just thinking about it, but they've got a whole funky, let me just see if I can, maybe Above Ground has some of them, or they can order them in for you. But if you look at this brochure and you can download this, you can see they've got scrapers, and this is actually a trowel, and they have spatulas and then all the palette knives. So this is actually a painting knife, and the palette knives are the smaller knives. So that's a whole other ball of fun. How to do mark making with all these things in terms of spreading and scratching and spreading and all these things. But they're great too. You can find a lot of these great tools, and I encourage you to, especially with the thick paints, you can have a lot of fun with the mark making, with scraping and you know, scraping and, you know, putting it out, and mark making with lifting it and graffitoing. They have the great thing about this is they talk all about the dragging and the scumbling and the incising and scratching and spreading and all these different techniques. So yeah, they've got some great stuff, and maybe like Above Ground maybe can order them for you.
I actually just put a link there. We do have a whole bunch.
Oh, yay! You guys are gonna have fun. So, any more questions before I have to go?
There's
Hi, Allison. Thanks for their questions.
there's one here from Aruba. She asked, "What's the best surface for the acrylic gouache? Watercolor paper?"
Yeah, I would say you can use it on canvas. Acrylics you can use on any surface, even fabrics. You just don't want to use anything on shiny or glossy. This is a watercolor paper I was using today. It's the Winsor & Newton watercolor paper. It's the 140 pounds. It's pretty thick. It holds, you can see it holds quite well. But I would use a canvas. You know, if you're doing a big painting or something, I use canvas. You can see on the back here, this is a piece of canvas stretched on the wall with, I gessoed it. So for the thicker stuff, I would probably use canvas, but for the washes, the watercolors, yeah, the watercolor paper is great. And I'm sure Above Ground has 300 pounds, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I think you can get some great 300-pound paper. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else there? Or
There's one last question. This is the last one
Okay.
we're gonna ask. Where did it go? I scrolled past it. Can you mix watercolors with the gels?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we did with this ink. We mixed this pigment. You mean gum arabic watercolors. Yeah, you can definitely use it in mixed media applications. You know, it's better if you stay with the binder of the same, you know, the same pigments that you're using. Like with watercolors, it's gum arabic. This is actually gum arabic. I have this here. It's gum arabic binder. And with acrylics, it's polymer emulsions. So you can play around with it, but you want to be careful with oils and acrylics. You never want to put acrylics on top of oil paint. I think with the gum arabic, I'd recommend if you want watercolor effects, you stick with the one binder, which is the watercolor effects that you can get with the acrylics. Acrylics is really amazing. It kind of imitates all the other techniques like watercolor, gouache, oils, encaustics. You know, you can make it look very similar. But you know, you can experiment and see. You're always interested in the stability of the paint film. So I would recommend just using with the acrylic mediums to use maybe an ink or a pigment that's more fluid, even the acrylic gouache or the soft body, and then just get a fluid like the Airbrush Medium or the gloss medium and varnish, or any of the fluid mediums, or the flow aid to get those effects, creating those watercolor effects. It's just a stronger intermixability than with watercolors. Good question, because everyone wants to do mixed media, and you never know, you know, how it's gonna work. You have to experiment. I just know if you use the same kind of products, acrylic, the binder, it seems it's more compatible. So I know students really like to experiment. Okay, I know it's endless. Thank you so much, everyone. Go over to Liquitex, get those brochures, those free brochures. They're so great. Everything that I talked about is over there. You can get one for each of the pigments, all the mediums. They've got a great medium brochure and that free PDF for sure. So thank you, Ali and Rachel, for hosting this today. I'm very grateful, and hopefully we'll connect again.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining us
Andrew,
today.
and thanks for staying so long. I know it was a long talk. So hopefully we'll see you again soon. And if you have any questions, just let me know. You can contact me through my website.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
bye, Allison. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.